Welcome to Rollin' Rambles, where the backlights are real bright. As many of you know, I live in North Carolina. North Carolina is one of a few states so far that have enacted, I gotta be careful how I say it on YouTube, but age verification requirements for websites that offer adult content, such as, shall we say, The Hub, which famously in all such states detects that your IP address geolocates to that state and blocks your ability to access the site. Never mind the fact that an IP address right down the road from me that happens to be on DSL goes to a data center in Atlanta, Georgia before hitting the internet, and therefore geolocates out of state, which makes perfect sense. Let's just not block them because, the geolocation data is notoriously inaccurate. I live in a state that has these age verification requirements. Otherwise, you can be held liable. Some people say that this is not some sort of restraint on speech because, well, the websites don't have to verify. It's just that anybody can sue the website if, say, their kids get access to the material because they don't have an age verification requirement. The truth is that many of these parents are just bad parents. I don't think that the state should be forcing these companies to be the parents. I think that parents can do a better job of teaching their children things and protecting their children when they are at home and educating them so that if they see weird stuff when they're not home, they are able to talk to the parents about it. It is not the responsibility of websites to be the parents just because adults like something that kids maybe shouldn't have access to. It is not the Hub's job to act as surrogate parent and get ID from everybody that wants to use the website to enjoy their reproductive parts in a way that we can't discuss very clearly on censorious websites like YouTube. I have a major problem with the state forcing companies to perform this sort of surveillance. Whoa. Now, what do you mean by surveillance, Jody? We're talking about age verification. It's no different than buying a naughty magazine at some gas station somewhere. They're going to want to make sure you're an adult before you buy it. So what are you talking about? Doesn't make a lot of sense. Not seeing the connection. Well, you will see the connection. Because if you really think about it, what's going on with any of this stuff? Like, it's one thing if you're in person and you're actually seeing the person and you can tell that they might be of a certain age. And even then, they're not taking a picture of your driver's license, transmitting and storing it digitally, and probably never letting go of that copy. A clerk at a gas station, wow, where'd the light come from, does not store your driver's license in perpetuity in digital form in a giant database that's a juicy target for hackers somewhere. They do not store a 3D face scan to guess your age, which, by the way, can be quite inaccurate. The spacing of your eyes is not necessarily dependent on the age. Head shapes, heads come in a lot of shapes. So the whole, in fact, now that I'm thinking about it, there's a thing called Tanner staging that even the guy who was behind it, the Tanner guy, that it's literally named for, later on, when law enforcement started using Tanner staging to prosecute, shall we say, underage struggle snugglers, that they were using it inappropriately because they were taking, they weren't actually doing the act, they had pictures of it. And people were going, oh, well, look, Tanner staging says that this picture, because they have a flat chest, it means that they're like 10 years old. And it didn't go very well when a nearly mid-20s woman was flown in to testify. Yeah, I was like 22 in those pictures. And the Tanner staging thing was like, yeah, she's not even hit puberty yet. Excuse me? What? I can tell you about that in another video if you're interested. It is a very interesting case, and Yeah, that's the crux of it, though, is that an adult performer was actually flown in to testify that she was in her early to mid 20s and not prepubescent. This is the wildest thing in the world. They were actually going after this guy for 4 years for that. But anyway, based on these various facial structures, that these websites supposedly can come up with a guess as to your age and whether or not you are of age. These things are notoriously inaccurate. There are some things that do generally change as you get older, but there are some people who change in different ways. There are some younger people who have older faces. In fact, I could say things about like neoteny, youthful features and whatnot. I could say all kinds of things, but I think if you want a visual, and I can't believe I'm sending someone to Reddit, but if you want a visual reason for why this just doesn't really work, there's a subreddit called 13 or 30. There are a bunch of people out there who look like they could simultaneously be in middle school and smoking a cigar while sitting on the toilet reading the newspaper saying, "Damn kids." No joke. So this just is not something that's going to work. It's also very possible that this information ends up in a database that is centrally located that becomes a massive target for hackers. Oh, video clips of people being face scanned from the left to the right, the first 180 degrees of their head. You mean you have 100,000 of those? Oh, you have 100,000 of those, and you have 10,000 driver licenses where they looked ambiguous, or you thought they were young, but they were like, "Oh no, I want so badly to access free naked people that I will give you critical government documentation that has private information on it that I am not supposed to generally distribute." Oh yeah, that's totally going to happen, brother, because I'm that desperate. Yeah, you think that that's not going to be a major target for hackers? It absolutely will. It's only a matter of time. Cough, cough, Ashley Madison, cough, cough. It's just not going to end well. And the thing is, once that information is in the hands of these websites, it also is in the hands of the government. Now, yes, I know, they're not the government, but when the government comes knocking on your door and says, "We want all your facial recognition records so we can look for a person," do you think for 1 second these websites are just going to be like, "Oh, no, we're going to go out of our way to protect our users from you, huh?" No, that's not even remotely what's going to happen. They're going to fold, and they're going to fold like a tent in the wind. I don't know a real good analogy for that. But they're going to cough that stuff up faster than you can say, "Please don't come after me, Daddy Government. I don't want to be punished any harder, Daddy Government. MindGeek can't afford that, Daddy Government." You think for 1 second that these websites care? And even worse, you know what? You have the Fourth Amendment right. Okay? Search and seizure. You have Fourth Amendment rights that protect you. You know what you don't have Fourth Amendment rights to protect? Your stuff that some other person has. You can't block someone else holding your data. You can't stop them from coughing your data up and giving it to authorities. You don't have any rights over that. So once it's out there, if they want to do a dragnet, they can. It's just like your cell phone location data. If it's out there, stored at some big company servers, they'll just send over a subpoena. Hey, hand over all the data that matches this, or just hand it all over and we'll deal with it for you. It's fine. All that facial recognition data that those websites pulled, yeah, it's a surveillance nightmare if you really think about it. Plus, now you are tying your biometrics and possibly your official government identification to the fact that you that you want to watch adult content on the internet. But not only that, all of the adult content that you watch. So, for example, let's say someone accused you of, I hate dancing around this stuff, but groping an individual below the age of majority. And then these scumbags dragnet find your account at the hub and find that you watched exclusively teen videos, just as an example, or exclusively petite videos or something like that. You know, some very rough analog for the thing that you're being accused of. Well, they can use that against you in court now, can't they? Look, this person's shown that this is the kind of thing that they're into. You know, it doesn't really matter if you're innocent or guilty. Hey, look, they've spent hours. And if you think that this isn't their account, we've got their driver's license, potentially their full face scan, potentially tied to this account. There is no question that it's their account. You do not have a right to privacy anymore because age verification requires that you have no right to privacy. Even if you do the thing that Australia is kind of sort of half-ass proposing, where they go, oh, well, we'll have a third party do the age verification, and then they send a token to you that says yes or no, whether you verify, and it's just totally private. No, because now it's just a matter of the age verification provider coughing up the records. Because what do you think's going to happen when Daddy Government comes to the door? Daddy Government comes to the door of the hub. The hub says, oh no, here's the SHA 512, of the key or token or whatever that the age verification provider gave us. And then they go, oh, hey, Daddy Government, go to the age verification. But hey, oh no, hey. No. These are the biometrics or the ID or, the official government record or whatever. And then it's just tied back. It's just one, oh, wow, you put that extra step in there. They had to climb one more rung on the ladder. They had to climb one more rung. Wow, what a barrier. Oh. Anyway, aside from the fact that age verification is basically a mass surveillance machine and there is no way to implement it without implementing this form of mass surveillance by proxy, it's also unconstitutional. Because the First Amendment says Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, blah, blah, blah. You probably know it by now. The First Amendment to the United States Constitution. Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech. Well, saying that you have to be a certain age and prove it using official government documents or whatever, saying that you have to be a certain age to view images and video of any sort, that is a restraint on free speech. And no, nobody is going to convince me. I don't care how many legal scholars you throw at me. The First Amendment, free speech, is one step below absolute. The only time that free speech can't be free is your rights end where my rights begin. Your right to swing your fists end where my face begins. That's the way the First Amendment is written. There is no question about this. The question is, how is it that so many people in the past have been willing to flex on the First Amendment, to let violations of it slide by saying, oh no, it's okay as long as the limitation is like really narrowly tailored. Well, no, it's not okay. Speech cannot inherently harm anyone. Speech can inspire people to harm people, but speech causes no harm. Speech can do all kinds of things. It can move you to things, but the actual speech itself does not hurt you. You can look at a really terrible video like of someone getting their head run over by a tank or something. Trust me, they're out there. 4chan cough has posted several of those things in the past. But other than the fact that it'll probably traumatize you a bit because that stuff's really horribly disgusting, it ultimately is not something that should be prohibited just because you can't handle it. Sorry, not sorry. And you're not really going to be able to stop it anyway, because you know what doesn't have age verification? Torrents. You know what doesn't have age verification? Random downloads from file lockers. You know what doesn't have age verification? Private forums. There are a whole lot of places that you can get this content. You can go to a search engine right now, turn off safe search, run searches for adult content, and find said content in the image search right away. It's there. It doesn't ask you for age verification first. But here, I'm going to do you a favor. If you are in a place that requires age verification and you want to get access to that content without age verification, without having to cough up your identity to compromise your privacy just because some scumbag in the government somewhere doesn't care and they think that there's some sort of like Jesus serving mother by saying, hey, we're going to block this stuff so you can't see it. You can use a VPN to route your internet traffic through a different IP address that's outside of a blocked region. But more importantly, you can use a VPN and you can use a torrent client like QBitTorrent to download torrents from a place like Damagnet, DAMAG.net, or if you like something that will send your searches to FBI.gov, if you look for PCP or anything else that they've got some hit list of things they think are illegal, you could go to btdig.com. These are magnet search engines. They are magnet crawlers. They crawl the DHT network and they retrieve torrent files to create listings and hashes that you can download that represent a set of files. So you can go to these decentralized search engines and you can acquire an info hash for a set of interesting files into that torrent client, which you set up to only route through your VPN provider. You can actually set the network interface to the interface corresponding to your VPN software. And voila, boom, you're done. You have unlimited access to all kinds of good stuff. Pirated adult things, pirated non-adult things, pirated video games, pirated movies that you don't want to watch, pirated TV shows that you shouldn't watch. You name it. You have access to this whole new world. And, if you want something a little safer, if you want to make sure you don't get a .exe or .scr virus attachment thing, you can always go to a place like 1337X or the Pirate Bay, and you can download torrents and magnet links and such from there to fill your torrent client with all this goodness. You're welcome. Bypass that crap. Anyway, the bottom line is it's unconstitutional. It's impractical to implement. People are going to work around it anyway, and I'll be happy to tell them how, because it's stupid. Why should I have to suffer because some stupid kid somewhere has some stupid parents somewhere that can't possibly do the job of being a parent properly? It's not my fault that you're stupid. Why should I be punished just because you have children? If that's a problem for you, maybe you should try being a better parent. Maybe you should try doing your job. It's not that hard. I'm a parent. I know it's really not that hard. It's not easy, but it really isn't that hard to not be a shitty parent. Give it a try sometime. Anyway, adults should not be punished because minors exist. All right, that's enough. Rolling Ramble's over. I'll see you in the next one. Take care. They're not generating a giant database. Let there be light. Geolocate to Atlanta, Georgia. That was stupid. That was real stupid, dude. Never a dull moment getting behind a random disabled veteran tag, huh? Jesus. Never mind the fact that my